How tough of a challenge is this week to go up against this defense?
It'll be tough. They do a great job of not giving up points. I don't know how many weeks in a row, how many games in a row they've held people under 30, but they're stingy when it comes to scoring.
What's unique about them that's allowed them to have that streak to go so long without having one game where they give up, 40?
Pretty much the biggest thing is the ability to run and hit. They do a great job of when they're going to go hit and run to the football, they're creating havoc. Their linebackers are thick dudes that can still run. Their front four are very good football players, thick guys that can still run. And then in the back end, even if they do give up a long play, they're still going to go try to get a strip. When you watch them play, they're all about the ball and getting the ball out and creating turnovers and really keeping people out of the end zone.
I've noticed that opposing quarterbacks have had a little bit of success throwing the ball on them. Have you seen a little bit in the film that you think Skylar might be able to find some?
It'll all be how the game unfolds, but Skylar's just got to do a good job taking what they give him, and really part of that comes to wideouts creating space. And some of the stuff that they have given up, the other teams' wideouts have done a nice job creating space, and quarterbacks have basically played catch.
What have you had to explain to the running backs this week, just in terms of the fact that this defensive front is just much bigger than probably a lot of what you've seen so far through games?
Well, the biggest thing with them guys, with running backs and really all of us, is take care of the football. Understand that there's going to be collisions. It's a game where it's going to be played faster than probably we've seen the first 2 weeks, and there's going to be more violent collisions than what we've seen, and taking care of the football is a priority.
How positive was the step that Malik took on Saturday?
Really, really big time deal, because I think all of us felt like he's got a ton of talent he's bringing to the table. Had some big catches, but then all of a sudden just started making crazy catches where you'd say, wow, that's really impressive. He's got to keep doing it week in and week out, but we're excited about him. And the best part is there's a bunch of wideouts that are really doing a nice job, that are creating competition, and the more competition, the better.
How has Skylar impressed you enough to, give him the freedom to make some calls? Not only changing stuff, but suggesting them.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is, right, we've talked about this before, but when we very first got here, his desire to learn what we're doing and why we're doing it, and the more he keeps figuring those things out, the more input he has on third downs, the more input he has on hey, how do we want to start this series? What do we want to go out there with, and what do we want to run with? And he's done a good job, and he's got to stay within himself, but to this point, I thought he's done a great job of staying within himself and not trying to force the game.
I think Coach Kleiman used the term quantum leap when talking about Jackson and how he's played. What specifically has Jax done that was impressive this past week?
Well, probably the ability to physically just turn it loose and play. I felt like early in camp, there was a lot of times he was thinking more than just going and playing fast. Once the lights got on and he keeps getting more and more reps, the faster he keeps playing. And for a bigger guy, he's got some really, really good quick twitch and can move and play in space.
I know John Holcomb wasn't perfect necessarily with his snaps out there, but just what did you think of him getting out there when the game was still kind of in doubt?
The biggest thing that he does is when he plays hard. When he carries the football, he runs like a back. His ability to throw the football, his ability to get out of his hand. I've been impressed with him and happy with how he's played, and I was happy with really how Nick managed the game as well. But John's obviously got a skill set a little bit different than the average guy, and he's done a good job when he's gotten his chances.
With their size on the defensive line, how crucial is it going to be to alternate offensive linemen, maybe get some fresh guys in there?
We always want to try to get to where we're able to play 7 or 8 offensive linemen. This week it'll really depend a little bit on how long are our drives, how hot and humid is it, how are they playing as individuals. But we always want to try to play 7 or 8 if we can, no matter what the game day situation is.
I know you guys were impressed with James coming in, James Gilbert, but has he surpassed your expectations in some ways?
I thought he was a really, really good player before he got here, and he's done nothing to make me think any different. He is a great finisher. He gets the ball in his hands. Somebody you would think should make that tackle. He does a great job of breaking tackles and putting himself in a position to go score. And a number of his touchdown runs have been really, really good, even though it might have only been a 5-yard run, where he's been able to not get tackled by the first collision and get in the end zone.
Coach Kleiman said earlier this week that he thought that Van Malone's experience there at Mississippi State last year would be an asset, at least knowing personnel. How much maybe have you guys been able to lean on him some this week to?
A little bit. I think the bigger deal, more than personnel, is more just getting our guys to understand what the environment will be and that we'll be able to handle the environment if we just stay where you're at as far as play the play that you're getting ready to play. Don't worry about what just happened. Don't worry about what's going to happen 2 plays from now. Just stay in the moment and we'll be fine.
Have you gone back and studied last year's Mississippi State K-State game at all?
We've watched it. Obviously we're a different offense, but the ability to see the schemes that they play, you bet.
What do you think of Joe Irvin and Jacardi Wright?
Really happy with both of them. I think both of them got huge potential down the road and will be really, really good players. Whether that continues this week and the following weeks, we'll see as they unfold. But I think both of them got talent, and both of them will be able to help us.
Anything else?